she potentially know of other employees personally, maybe people she had interacted with while she was there who can support her claims or who have had similar experiences?
What would you answer that if you're an attorney? If your answer is no, you certainly do not say, no, we don't know of any other people. You would say, we are not going to speak publicly about other victims that we may or may not be speaking with.
Personally, one-on-one, she doesn't have direct knowledge.
Ooh, I'm going to give that answer an F.
She's saying that Vince McMahon defecated on her, would not allow her to clean off.
And if you can read that on the left, it says feces in her hair and running down her back. All right, believe it or not, this is actually a serious video. We're going to talk about the Vince McMahon case because Vince McMahon resigned from the TKO board. Also, new information on the Brock Lesnar stuff. And Ronda Rousey also gets accused of having a relationship with Vince McMahon. The accuser's attorney did a public interview, and it is shocking. But to be clear, this is like an actual interview, not me pretending to interview someone. It's an actual interview she did, and the most shocking part about it is how bad it went. Now, before we get into the real interview, I also started working on a fake interview that I did with Vince McMahon, and I'm going to show you 30 seconds of it right now, and then we'll get back into the serious part of the video. So you pooped on her.
Yes.
Pooped.
Yes.
On her.
Yes.
Pooping on her turned you on.
Yes and no.
I feel sorry for whatever psychotherapist double clicks into that answer. What did you say to her right after you were finished?
This is the biggest thing Vince McMahon have ever done.
Is this interview really that important? Do I really have to keep doing this? There's a rumor that Brock Lesnar asked for a video of this girl peeing. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, last question. Anybody at WWE who is not a deviant psycho?
No.
Any chance you still have that girl's cell phone number? Look for that whole thing coming out shortly. Now, in terms of the real interview, when I say it went bad, what I mean is in terms of making this a believable story. I watched it like, let's see what they're going to come with. This woman cannot even pretend to believe her client. And I'll make it crystal clear how I know she knows that her client is lying. I also found out why she's doing this, how this entire thing came about right now. Before we start, though, I need to clarify a few things from my previous videos. It appears that there were some things lost in translation as I talked about this case because A, no, I do not believe this girl. I don't believe her. I don't believe that she was doing this against her will. But B, people seem to think that means I'm going, Vince McMahon has done nothing wrong and he is an amazing man, an amazing leader. It's like, I don't understand people's thought process that can hear one thing and then think it means another. There is a huge difference between a person being an absolute deviant psychopath, like Vince McMahon appears to be, and him assaulting a girl against her will, right? So like two things can be true at once. There can be nothing but bad guys. Do you know what I mean? It's like everybody's so tribal now that they think that if I say, yeah, I don't believe that girl, it means I'm like, I stand with Vince McMahon. It's like, no, I also, why don't you ask a question? So you're saying Vince McMahon's a good guy? No, I think he is a psycho. Well, then why are you defending him against her? I'm like, how am I defending him? I'm saying she's lying. And I'm saying he's a lunatic, like an actual psycho. Two things can be true at once, dude. You know what I mean? So we'll talk about that also, in addition to the lawyer. But the Jesse on Fire show just made its first hire, and it's a hype man. And let's hear from that hype man right now about the fake interview that I did at the beginning of this video.
That was sweet, huh? Did you like that?
Boy, that Fallon Fox sure knows how to hype him up, huh?
Yeah!
Yikes, they didn't like it, Fallon, so you're fired. You can complain to my HR department, but I have a feeling they're not going to be getting back to you anytime soon because I am the HR department. Now, like I've told you guys, the interview with this attorney who is representing the accuser is absolutely nuts. She's terrible at pretending that she believes her, and I'm going to show you all of that shortly and what we learned from it. But first, I want to talk about the Ronda Rousey thing because Ronda Rousey tweeted, okay, in response to Vince being removed from the TKO board, Bruce Pritchard is basically Vince's avatar. If he's still around, Vince still has a hand in the business. Vince was still running things through Bruce when he was gone before. And Chris Cyborg responded, tell me about the car Ronda was gifted again, Brendan Schaub. So, I only know how to read this as Ronda slept with someone in exchange for a car because that is what the entire point of this accusation is that, you know, Vince was giving gifts or whatever to this girl who worked for him, and then she was letting people run trains on her, right? Now, I don't have any other information other than the fact that Chris Cyborg says that she has information that Ronda Rousey did something very similar where she was gifted a car. You can only take that as an implication that she was sleeping with someone in exchange for said car, and it was in response to the Vince McMahon thing. So maybe that's what she's talking about, or maybe she's talking about someone else. I don't know. All I know is that if I was Travis Brown, I might go find Chris Cyborg's team and find the closest dude to her and beat him up. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where like, if a girl or a kid beats up your kid, you know, like let's say that like a 13-year-old girl beat up my daughter on the playground. And I was like, I don't like that. And then so I would go to her family. I'd be like, you are going to make your kid apologize or whatever. And the dad was like, no, I'm not. And then so I beat up their dad. Like, I'm not going to beat up the kid. You know what I mean? Probably wouldn't beat up the dad either. I might just blow up their car. I'm just kidding. Anyway, but Travis Brown is very big and very scary. Now, before we get into this interview, I just want to go over the facts of the case super quick because they're not in dispute, okay? Janel Grant is the girl who was working for Vince McMahon, and she alleges that she was made to sleep with lots and lots and lots of people at the WWE. Vince McMahon was abusing her. He had sex with her all over the place. He had other executives have sex with her all over the place, and he forced her to do it, and he used different, toys that he had named different names of WWE wrestlers. Yeah, take it from The Undertaker. Take it from The Undertaker. Take it from The Undertaker. Oh, one story that I forgot about is that she alleges that during a three-banger, what's a good way to put this? There's a sandwich. Two men are the bread, and she is the meat, right? And then during that session, Vince was like, you know what goes well with a sandwich is poop. And so he pooped on her and then made the other dude just keep on going without cleaning it up. And so let's say hypothetically that was true, since, I guess there's no way to know for sure. But assuming that it was true, we know Vince is a psychopath. In case you hadn't figured out from the interview that I led this off with, the new detail from the Brock Lesnar thing was that supposedly the accusation was that Brock Lesnar wanted her to make an explicit video. And what he asked for was for her to be peeing on the video. Now, I have no idea if this is true. Gross. What is wrong with these guys, dude? Come on, man. Now, it has been a bad week for big billionaire dudes getting cracked by women who, in my opinion, are making things up. One way worse than the other. This one, at least, the billionaire was behaving very bad. As bad as you can behave in a consensual situation. Assuming that it was consensual, which all indications are. And I'm going to tell you how this girl knows it's consensual in a second. But in the other side, the guy running for president who just got, I don't care if you love that guy or hate that guy. If you hate him, Dana White's friend who's running for president, if you hate him more than anything, if you could tell me with a straight face that you believe that Jean Carroll lady that sued him for assault 50 years ago at the department store, identical story to an episode of Law and Order. You watch her on CNN, and the most embarrassingly obvious lie ever. And they just cracked him for $83 million. Dude, that is the most laughable miscarriage of justice ever. You have that situation going on over there. And then over here, you have a girl who, like I was saying, this girl knows is lying. And here is how she knows. Girl on the right, has seen all of the text messages, not just the ones that they put out to the public. She's seen all of them. And so in the other text messages where Vince McMahon is all, oh yeah, baby, you're going to take it like a little whore. You're going to take it like a little whore. And all these guys love to pound you out. Her responses are, nothing makes me happier, daddy, than letting these guys just deep throat all of me and I throw up on it. I want to be turned out. I want someone to took a rope around my neck and choke me. I love it. I can't get enough. I cannot get enough. So she knows that. I know that. She knows that. All right. Vince McMahon is a psycho. Okay. But she knows because she's seen the text messages. So we'll watch that in a second. Again, though, I want to just circle back to one thing. I think that men who beat up girls are the lowest of the low, except for a couple examples that are just a little bit lower, like a person who assaults a girl like that. So if you take those two things, if a person is a piece of garbage, if they beat up a girl, and an even bigger piece of garbage, if they take that from a girl, and you say, oh, hey, what are you into? And a guy's like, the only thing that gets me off is, is like strangling a girl and hitting her and then defiling her while I take it from her and I want it to hurt. You're all right. Well, if you have a willing participant, you're not as bad as those guys, but you're still a psycho as far as I'm concerned. But, it is what it is, man. To each their own. So, again, if people think I'm defending Vince McMahon like that Vince McMahon's a good dude, I'm not. He's a moron who got caught. And if he wasn't married, she would still be there getting turned out every single day. This is the other thing I was going to tell you guys. Here's what really happened here. This is the long and short of exactly how this happened. The girl, Janel, who is suing him, was his little pass-around girl, and she loved it. Then Vince's wife found out about her, and so they had to fire her from the company, and they paid her $3 million to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. Then, very recently, a referee from 1986 said that Vince McMahon assaulted her. Okay, same type of deal. Said that she was assaulted by Vince McMahon in 86. And she got paid $12 million. $12 million. Okay? And so instantaneously, this girl who got $3 million and only actually got paid $1 million was like, $12 million? And he just did it once? She's like, shh, please. And she went and reached out to this girl. And this girl right here, this attorney, was like, yeah, I think we have a pretty good case here. Given that the facts of the case are that you are into, being choked, humiliated, defiled, made to feel as if you have no choice. Like, they're going to have a pretty hard time defending this. But again, she's seen all the text messages. So you tell me, how convincing is she that she believes that this girl was actually assaulted versus being a willing participant in this? And let's watch now.
Allegations and the claims in this lawsuit, which are frankly pretty disgusting and pretty disturbing. First off, this claim that there was a threesome between your client, Janel Grant, and Vince McMahon in May of 2020. And she's saying that Vince McMahon defecated on her, would not allow her to clean off. It's very descriptive, and that he insisted that she continue.
Then commanded her to continue pleasuring
you to
him,
have
his
sexual relations with the third person in this threesome.
Sorry, I put a cough drop in my mouth and I took it out. I have a sore throat. It's killing me, but I can't talk with it in. So the alleged story is that during the three-banger, pooped, didn't let her clean it off, and then made her continue to get down with the friend. And it said, oh my God. Hang on. Let me go backwards right here. Oh my God. This is so gross. I'm just seeing this for the first time. With feces in her hair and running down her back is what that says. Feces in her hair and running down her back.
Allow her to clean
while
off.
McMahon
it's very descriptive.
went
and
to
that
the shower.
He insisted that she
Oh my
continue
God.
to, have sexual relations with the
Dude,
third person.
check this out. That's on May 9th, 2020. Listen, you want to know how she knows? You want to know how she knows the exact date that he went poop on her and got feces in her hair running down her back? Is because it's all in her text messages. Okay? That's how she knows the exact date. All in the text messages. She's going through the messages and she's like, oh yeah, okay, here's what we said, whatever. Why don't you drop them all, dude? Put them all out. But nonetheless, Vince McMahon pooped in her hair and didn't let her clean it out. All right? So, okay, let's continue.
This threesome, and that this was humiliating. So these are some really graphic, kind of disturbing claims. Talk to me a little bit about that and why your client continued to engage in all of this.
Well, there is a thing called trauma bonding that people that haven't studied it, and I have just read articles about it. I'm no psychologist or psychiatrist, but an attorney. But she literally felt caged and imprisoned by Vince McMahon.
Oh, okay. So just right out of the gate, she felt caged and imprisoned. So are you saying that she was saying no to this, or was she an active participant? Okay, so that's number one. She is smirking throughout this whole thing, right? She also is doing this interview from a kitchen, an apartment kitchen, it looks like. All right, let's continue.
And the degrading, the escalation of the degrading things that happened to her, it's important for it to come out.
Okay, but why did it end? Why did it end? Did it end because she had enough? Or did it end because Vince McMahon's wife found out? And so they fired her.
These are facts. And these are allegations that we hope to prove to be true. And they are true. So
why do you need to prove them to be true? Are they true or are they true? That's the whole thing. So you see what she just did right there? These are allegations that we hope to prove to be true because they are true. Listen to the way that she actually presents these accusations throughout this interview, because she betrays that over and over and over.
What does Janel Grant hope to accomplish with this lawsuit? She had filed, or
look at where she's doing this interview, by the way.
She had signed the NDA, the non-disclosure agreement. Was supposed to be paid about $2 million over the course of a couple of years. So what does she want out of this suit specifically?
She wants her life back. She wants ownership of her story. She wants to help other victims. This is relatively close in time. 2019 when this unfolded, 2020.
That might actually be a hotel with a kitchen.
And her hope is to help other victims, if there are other victims, to come forward, because she had the courage and the presence of mind to finally get this done and come forward.
Okay, so she is doing this because she is asking for other victims to come forward because they will bolster her case. We're doing this so that any other victims could just come out, because otherwise it's just our word against his, and these text messages are pretty damning on our side. But go ahead and, let us know if you know anyone who was a part of this. Do you know anybody who was also victimized by Vince McMahon? Because we don't have anything right now in terms of other people alleging this, alleging this. What
is she up to right now? Obviously she's not working for WWE and Vince McMahon anymore.
Right, because Vince's wife found out.
That employment ended. So has she been able to find other gainful employment? I mean, what is she doing right now?
Well,
she was living on the $1 million that she was getting paid, and now they stopped paying her. So there's that.
What happened to her and what we allege left her physically and mentally absolutely destroyed. So she is trying to recover, and she believes this is the first step. Filing this lawsuit took such tremendous courage from her. She was in an extremely vulnerable position when she first encountered Vince McMahon. Her parents had passed. She was the primary caregiver for her parents. So,
that's relevant. That seems very relevant. So number one, she is alleging that she has been emotionally destroyed by this, right? Here's the thing. It doesn't matter if she's telling the truth or not. She's going to get paid, son. She's going to get freaking paid. This story is gnarly. This story is ugly. This story is horrendous. Okay? I don't believe her at all in terms of her not being a willing participant, but this story is a nightmare. It's horrendous. She is going to get paid, son. It doesn't matter that she's lying. Let's go ahead and continue, though. Bang.
She still tried to conduct herself, tried to be the best possible employee for the WWE that she could be under the most devastating and sexually depraved circumstances.
One of the other
that she was definitely not into at all, which is why she participated 500 times ish, allegedly. I don't know what the exact number is, but willingly participated many times. I know that if I were a girl that was a grown-up and my boss is like, listen, if you want to keep your job, you are going to have to let me poop on you, and then me and my buddies are going to run a train on you, I'd be all, geez Louise. Well, this is the only job in America. I guess I should not just quit. I should just go through with this and then, Now, smart girl, suing, smart, going to get a lot of money.
Claims that she makes. That's pretty disturbing. I mean, it's all pretty disturbing, if you ask me. Is that in 2021, she claims that Vince McMahon and this John Laurinaitis, sorry if I butchered that name, cornered her in a conference room and they both had sex with her. And they're saying things like no means yes and take it B word.
So, right. I'm sure that that's exactly what happened, except that they probably text messaged her, meet us in that room, and then they did that, and she did it because she was into it, because clearly she was into it, and the lawyer knows that because, again, she's read the text messages. Let's continue.
Yeah.
And that she's claiming other people in the office knew about this. So I'm kind of stunned by that. I mean, was this like an office? Was this like just a known thing? I mean,
yes, it was a known thing that she had sex with everyone in the office, 100%. And somehow no one said anything about it because it was known that she would make appointments with other people in the company to do this. Now, don't get me wrong. This is a broken girl, obviously. A broken girl. And Vince is a psychopath who I wouldn't let within 100 yards of any female in my life. But again, come on.
Was everybody just like, yeah, that's kind of what goes on around here? I mean, what's going on with all of this stuff? This is really, really disturbing.
It is disturbing. What happened to her is disturbing. And I believe it was in Laurinaitis' office that they locked. I believe that. But yes, she was sexually assaulted, we are claiming, in the WWE headquarters, under the nose of the executives and the employees.
We are claiming. So did it happen, or are you claiming it? You know what I mean? That's weird language. She was assaulted. We are claiming. Oh, so was she or wasn't she? Or are you just claiming that because you are probably actually a good person and it pains you, even as an attorney, to just overtly lie because you know it's not true? Let's continue.
So it's just an open secret in the office, or how was this working? Because
I think
it's horrifying to me to think about this.
It is horrifying. It is horrifying. But Janel was in just an atmosphere of fear. I think perhaps some of the employees or many of the employees were in an atmosphere of fear.
So here's the other part of the text messages. Where are the text messages that say, if you ever tell anyone, I will kill you? Or if you ever say no to me, I will throw you out of this company and I'll never make anyone hire you again. Where are all those? Where are the threats? Where are the threats? Because he communicated a lot through text message. Where are the threats? You know what I mean? Now, I think, for the record, this girl deserves this money. Straight up. I'm just going to say that right now. I think this girl deserves this money. And she deserves the money because Vince McMahon is such a moron to have partaken in this, which so obviously was a risk to blow up in his face like this that it's almost absurd. Like, what did you think? Like, have you been a billionaire for 1.2 minutes? Like, you can't do this and expect this not to blow up in your face. You put all that shit in writing? I mean, come on, man. You think that this girl loves you like that? That she would never trade you in for $12 million in the event that your wife found out and made you fire her? I mean, this is just like, she deserves the money because Vince McMahon is so stupid.
And that permeated her being, and I think it permeated the office.
Oh, that's cute. Look at that. They used a picture of the big guy. That's funny. Wow. I guess he probably got in on it too, right? Like, I think actually he should have to pay her $83 million also. Why doesn't she just say that he did it? The court would side with her, obviously. Just say that the big guy was in on it too.
The entire headquarters.
So does she believe, and do you believe, that she was not the only one, that this was going on potentially with other women who worked in this company?
Whether they worked in the company or not, yes, the belief is that there are other victims out there. Just the way that the grooming of Janel went on, it just indicates that there are a lot of indicators that there may be and probably are other victims out there. And one of Janel's hopes.
Translation, no, we don't have any reason to believe there's anyone else out there.
Is that by coming forward, she will give the courage of other victims to come forward too.
It's the give courage to the other victims, but nonetheless, the answer is you don't know of any other ones and you have no reason to believe there are other ones unless you just hope there are other ones, which is exactly what you just said.
She potentially know of other employees personally, maybe people she had interacted with while she was there who can support her claims or who have had similar experiences.
What would you answer that if you're an attorney? Pop quiz. If your answer is no, you certainly do not say, no, we don't know of any other people. You would say, we are not going to speak publicly about other victims that we may or may not be speaking with. Because if you say no, it makes you sound like you are lying about your thing because you are. But you know what I mean? So don't say no. Like, don't say no. Just say you can't speak about that answer publicly because you're an attorney, and that would be a totally plausible, reasonable answer. So definitely say that, right?
Well, I bet that's later for trial when we gather all our witnesses. But personally, she does not. Oof. But there also there can be empirical circumstances that she may have encountered that could have indicated that there were other victims. But personally, one-on-one, she doesn't have direct knowledge.
Ooh. I'm going to give that answer an F. That would be a failing answer. F. F. That's how convincing that was. Not to mention, when your face looks like this, right? Like this is your face as you give the answer, talking about violent, disgusting assault. This is the face of someone who knows they're lying. And I respect that, dude. I don't like people who can just bold-face lie. She's not good at bold-face lying. So, she looks like she's, not very good at it because she's seen all the text messages. So she knows that her client is lying, But again, I think that the client deserves the money because Vince McMahon is a gross, disgusting weirdo. Anyway, that's probably enough for today. I could keep this going, but you guys can watch the whole video yourselves. I don't believe her, but also Vince is a psycho. Love you guys. Bye-bye.